South Dakota is home to 9 tribes, and today the Rotary Club of downtown Sioux Falls invited speakers to discuss some of the challenges South Dakota tribes are facing during the pandemic. KELOLAND's Sarah McDonald takes a closer look at that conversation.
COVID-19 is affecting many populations, including tribes in South Dakota. That's just one of the topics discussed during today's meeting with the Rotary Club of downtown Sioux Falls.
So when tribal leaders knew that a new pandemic was on the rise, they knew that their people would be disproportionately impacted just based upon the history and based upon the way other diseases have impacted those communities.
He says tribes have enacted laws and ordinances to mitigate the spread of COVID-19.
Early on, the checkpoints on the state highways and the aggressive approaches that many tribal leaders took worked.
However, David Flute, who is the Cabinet Secretary of the South Dakota Department of Tribal Relations, says some mitigation efforts have not always been supported.
From what I've experienced and what I've learned being in this position, that the lockdowns and the tribal checkpoints were not supported 100% by the local tribal members. They shared their frustration with our agency. Local businesses, tribal and non-tribal, were impacted negatively. Farmers and ranchers were negatively impacted.
Flute says the methamphetamine problem on the reservations needs to be focused on as well.
I definitely feel for the tribes because anytime that there's a pandemic like this, it can become a crisis. And I don't want to jump too far ahead myself, but respectfully, in my opinion, the biggest crisis that and I don't mean to segue into your next question, but the methamphetamine problem, in my opinion, is the biggest healthcare crisis we have on Indian tribes.
Making these important conversations.
I'm really glad we're having this discussion today because it helps set the tone. It puts us on a level where we have a very level and even understanding.
In Sioux Falls, Sarah McDonald, KELOLAND News.
LaPlante says that the tribes are enacting laws and ordinances to help address the methamphetamine problem.